for Mrs. King. I'll leave some meat on the soup bone for you. And then my mother filled up a great big pot. Every vegetable in the world was in there with that soup bowl. And we had nutritious food. She put flowers on the table. It was something called an oilcloth. I think it must have been the forerunner of plastic and linoleum. But you put this oilcloth cover on the table and flowers, and then we had a one-pot dinner, which was marvelous. But the work was different in those days. My mother not only washed our dirty clothes, but she washed dirty clothes for everybody else who didn't want to wash. And our job was to rub it on the, my older sister did the rubbing. I think that's why she had such problems when she grew up. She was the one who had to scrub the first scrub. And then the next sister rinsed the first rinse. And then the second rinse. My two sisters managed, because it was something called bluing that you had to put in the white clothes. And then you had to use some cooked starch to go in something else. And they didn't trust me to do that. They knew what they were doing. So my job was then to go out and hang them on the line outside. And I had special instructions that you were to hang the clothes the way they were worn. You did not hang a shirt up by the tail, shirt tail. You hung it up by the shoulders so that it would dry in that shape. So we learned to do some of the chores that went into the washing. So wash day for me is a collage that celebrates the greatness of a woman who could do that, to raise a family. My mother was left with 4 children. I was the youngest. Okay, so my brother drove the milk wagon 5 o'clock in the morning that delivered milk, put outside your door. Weren't they trusting them? Outside the door, and nobody took it. So, it's a whole different world. Yes. But each one of us had something that we were responsible for. And my sisters and brothers, maybe I was a con artist, I don't know. But they said I was so bright and I liked to read and write stories and tell stories, and I seemed to have this flair for getting out of real work. So they did most of the cooking and laundry. Oh, she's going to read, she's going to so-and-so. And I got excused from most of the manual work. And I was supposed to be the scholar and the person who really was going to take that education and carry it somewhere. I don't think they knew where it was going to lead, but they just figured that I was going to lead them out of this condition that we were in. I think I might have been their last great hope, oh God. But that this was going to be their ticket out. And I think education is our ticket out. As I look back and I've seen how we have come together as a people, we have brought ourselves out of that through education and learning and diligence and fortitude. And I really think that that was a vision that was there in those women as they scrubbed and cleaned clothes and floors, that they were making that path for us to walk on. So I celebrate this and make this one of our heroes. I don't think anybody deserves more accolades than the woman who washed clothes to keep her family going. Yes, ma'am, girl is very special to me, because that lady in that outfit there is my mom. And I had special instructions, and I did. It was a work of art to keep that little white cap starched so that it stood up beautiful, like a crown, like a tiara almost. And her white apron, and oh Lord, it was scorched, because we were using those irons that you all don't know anything about. And they would get too hot and scorch the white things. Then I'd have to put lemon juice on that. Okay, keep that nice. But I did it, and I did it with love because I knew my mother had to wear that. And that was the badge of courage. And that separated her from the women who cleaned. There was a hierarchy. And she was supposed to be a very special person. So I said, and I knew that why those men were there. I knew why the ladies were there. I knew why the liquor was there. So I said, what are you doing there? And my mother smiled at me and said, I just take the ladies' coats, and when they ask me to do something, I say, yes, ma'am. So that's my yes, ma'am girl. The fur coat is authentic. It was called Silver Fox. And if you weren't careful, that Silver Fox was shed all over everybody. But that was the fur for that period. And one of my dearest friends, and I was about to tell Glenda today how I came to get some of the papers and things that I used. One of my friends was cleaning out a garage or a basement and said to me, I have some magazines and newspapers that I've been hoarding and carrying on. I hate to say this to you, but would you like to have them? He said, I don't know anybody else in the world that wants to hold stuff like this. I said, I'd love to have them. And I had some newspapers from Rochester, New York that were dated 1950-something and before. I have first copies of Look magazine. It was a great big weekly magazine, I think. Well, that paper came out of one of those old newspapers advertising fur coats. So my paper source is just anywhere, everywhere. I had to look carefully among all that stuff to find a stand-up telephone for the cashier back in the, on the left side there. But I tried to be as authentic as I can. I couldn't find a wash tub. I had to make that out of pieces of paper put together. So sometimes I assemble, sometimes I find a piece that I can use and alter it for size or whatever shape and make it into whatever I want. I try to be as authentic as I can. I do a lot of research to find out exactly what is accurate for the period and the time and the place. I think to me, my creativity is to my spirit what breathing is to my body. I'm compulsive. I have to do it. And you know what? I'm walking better. I take exercise at the Y now. I do the bike. I do the weights. Tuesday and Thursday, that's where I am. So I'm trying to get it all together because I'll be 90 years old in March. To tell a story, to tell you my story. Each one of my collages is just a little peek into my life. Each one is based on some experience I've had. And I like using paper. That's my job. I love it. Paper is earth-friendly. This is the most wonderful recycling process. I don't have to throw away a thing. My daughter will tell you, it's all in that room. But this is the way I want to express what is in my mind's eye, what my life is like, what it has been like. And I find that it brings a vitality to me. It goes full circle. I'm breathing it out and breathing it in. And it's truly energizing, and I think it's a way to let other people share what is our common humanity.